What's up, Richard Timbers here. In honor of the movie Send Help coming out this week, since it is, of course, a movie set on an island, I decided to go ahead and do my top 10 favorite, island movies, whether it's a stranded island and all. Because who doesn't love a movie where someone's stuck on a stranded island, right? So here is my official top 10. All right, number 10 is a little film. It's the Broken Lizards film, Broken Lizards Club Dread. Now, this is, of course, a comedy film following a group of staff members on a tropical island resort where an unknown killer begins a murder spree. And is that now? Of course, this is from the same people who gave us like Super Troopers, many others. This is actually my favorite film they put out. I meant even over Super Troopers. I adore this one. Of course, here you got the likes of Brittany Daniels, who you might know from Joe Dirt fame, the Broken Lizards gang, the late great Bill Paxton as Coconut Pete. Oh man, when Super Troopers Shoot came out, I really did quite like the little tribute to Coconut Pete with his his Pina Colada song. I really quite like that one. It's a really fun one. If you guys never seen Club Dread, do yourself a favor, give it a go. It's such a really fun horror comedy there is. All right, coming in at number 9 is Swiss Army Man. Now, Swiss Army Man was directed by the Daniels, who will go on to win an Oscar for their movie Everything Everywhere All at Once. And this movie here, which I always just call Swiss Army Man the farting corpse movie, because that's what we got with this one. It stars Paul Dano, who is stranded on an island and befriends this mysteriously corpse, and together they embark on a bizarre journey of survival, self-acceptance, and yeah, this is a really accidental comedy, say the least. And he actually literally, let's just say, use him as use Dan Radcliffe's character as a Raph. Really, I mean, Dan Radcliffe character in this is pretty much dead throughout the whole movie. But hey, Dan Radcliffe, Paul Dano, both were great in the say least. Mary Elizabeth Winstead was terrific. This was, of course, a movie that really put the Danos on the map before they will go on to direct, to direct Everything Everywhere, and obviously they wanted their Oscar for that. But yeah, if you guys have not really seen Swiss Army Man, give it a go. It's a really good one. Number 8 is Triangle Sadness. Now, of course, Triangle Sadness is about like a luxury yacht, a group of wealthy elites and crew members are stranded on an island where social hierarchies are completely flipped here. And Triangle Sadness was directed by Ruben Osland, featuring the late Charlie Dane, Woody Harrelson, Harris Dickinson. It's such a really terrific film. Great performances by the cast here. I mean, they don't really get on the island until towards the middle, really, but till towards the last half, really. But hey, the times they do get set on the island is a really good one, and it's really good performances throughout here. If you guys haven't seen it, give it a go. Can't wait for the director's next film, by the way, which is The Entertainment System is Down. Hopefully that premieres at Cannes this year, but who knows. All right, number 7 is Jurassic Park 3. Now you're probably going to wondering, why are you not including the original? This is actually more of an island, more of a stranded island type film than the first film, to be honest here. Because I just like it when they, go on the plane and they crash land in the island. Now, Jurassic Park 3 never really got the best love. Really, say what you want now. It's far better than the last few Jurassic Park movies we've been having, But Jurassic Park 3 is just a lot of fun. I really quite like that Spinosaurus Rex here. Come on, seeing Trevor Morgan go from dancing with Barney to being chased by dinosaurs. Okay, cool there. I mean, of course, my favorite moment is always the pterodactyl scene. I don't know why, that's so entertaining. It's just such a really fun one. William H. Macy, Tay Leone. If you guys don't know much about Jurassic Park 3, it's where Dr. Alan Grant is tricked into reuniting, returning to Isla Sorna, where dinosaurs roam freely here. and they are stranded and haunted by deadly predators and all. And the movie is just a lot of fun. I mean, I really have. It's actually my third favorite out of the Jurassic Park films. Like the first is of course the OG. The second favorite is the Jurassic World one from 2015, and my third favorite is this one. I know it does not really get hardly any love, but I always get a kick out of this every time I rewatch it. Number 6 is, of course, King Kong. I'm actually going with the iconic Peter Jackson one. King Kong is just great. Of course, it does take place on Kong Skull Island, one of the most iconic islands in movies to date. The effects is always great. Great performances by Naomi Watts. Adrien Brody is great. I mean, who just doesn't want to take a trip to Kong Skull Island? It's just always a joy there. All right. Number 5 is Swiss Army Man. Swiss Family Robinson. This is, of course, a Disney classic, where like a ship family builds an extraordinary life on a tropical island, using teamwork and optimism from treehouse home to animal companions. Of course, you got the likes of John Mills, Dorothy McGuire, James MacArthur, Janet Monroe. It's such a 60s, wonderful Disney classic there. It's a really decent one. I mean, there was some really good Disney movies from the 60s, and this is definitely one of the better ones. Number 4 is Lord of the Flies. Now, Lord of the Flies is, of course, we're based on the classic story. After a plane crash and a group of kids are stranded in this island with no adult supervision. This movie is intense. I remember seeing this one at I'm talking about the original, by the way. I remember seeing the original as a kid. Man, it really made me one of the most scariest non-horror movies I've ever seen as a kid. I've seen this one way too young. But it's such a classic one. Of course, it's based on the very popular book there. The 90s one is actually pretty good too, but I'm actually going with the OG one because the OG one is really good. I mean, hey, Lord of the Flies works so Yellow Jackets could run, right? So yeah, if it wasn't for Lord of the Flies, you probably wouldn't have Yellow Jackets, right? All right. Number 3 is The Beach. Now, this is the Danny Boyle directed movie starring Leo DiCaprio, where a backpacker in Thailand discovers a hidden island community that promises a paradise free from society. And you got Tilda Swinton, Virginie Ledonian was great. It's such a really terrific film. Great performances by DiCaprio. This is actually one of the few Danny Boyle movies that did not really get the best love. I kid you not, Leo DiCaprio actually got Razzie for his performance there. I'm like, really? I mean, you don't have to cool. You don't like the movie or anything, but DiCaprio was still really good in it. But hey, every great actor has a Razzie, right? But it is such a really good one. I mean, if you guys have not really seen The Beach, give it a go. It's a really good one there. Okay, number 2 is going to be way too controversial because this thing was controversial when it was released. Number 2 is The Blue Lagoon. Now, The Blue Lagoon was actually directed by Randall Kleiser, who, 2 years prior directed the iconic John Travolta Olivia Newton-John movie Grease. So this was interesting to see him go from a musical film like that to something a little more risque like The Blue Lagoon. This, of course, starred the likes of Brooke Shields, Christopher Atkins, and it's about these two youngsters who are shipwrecked on a tropical island and raised in isolation, growing up adulthood without social rules and all. I mean, it's a really awkward movie to watch as an adult nowadays. I actually watched this one a little too young when just like a lot of the Flies, I watched this a little too young when I shouldn't have watched these types of stuff, but it's a really good one. The chemistry with Brooke Shields and Atkins is terrific. It gets pretty intense throughout at times. You really do feel it's mostly those two on one film together, and you do really feel sorry for them, and you hope that they actually find their way back and stuff. It's just such a good one. If you guys haven't seen it, highly recommend The Blue Lagoon. If you see something called Return to Blue Lagoon, you don't have to borrow that. That was like with Mila Jovovich. That was horrible. Although the Lifetime one wasn't so bad. The one that Christopher Atkins actually appeared in as a teacher, that actually wasn't so bad. But you don't need to borrow with Return to the Blue Lagoon stuff. Yeah. And my number 1 favorite is obviously Castaway. this is the one that introduced us to a volleyball named Wilson. Of course, I really think this movie should have won. All due respect to Russell Crowe, who I believe actually won his Oscar that year. All due respect to Crowe, this movie should have won Tom Hanks' third Oscar. I mean, I think this performance was great. Of course, directed by Rob Zemeckis, who years prior directed Tom Hanks to his first Oscar for Forrest Gump. Of course, we're like a FedEx plane crashes into the Pacific, and of course, Chuck Nolan is stranded alone on a remote island, and of course, he undergoes like profound physical and emotional transformation here, and it's such a really great one. I mean, a lot of people even think Wilson should have gotten an Oscar nomination. Okay, cool. I don't think volleyballers could get Oscar nominations, but cool. Of course, Helen Hunt's great. Tom Hanks is just incredible. I mean, one of his best, like, I'll say his best role will always be Forrest Gump, but this is definitely one of his other top tier performances. I feel like if, Gladiator then came out that year, I think Tom Hanks would have won his Oscar if it wasn't for Gladiator, but that's just me. To be honest, I actually think Castaway is a better movie than Gladiator. Yeah, I'm sorry. I know that's going to be unpopular to say, but that's just me. But anyway, Castaway is still a really good one. If you guys never seen it, highly recommend it. And also, a product placement for FedEx. Come on. But that's pretty much it there. Here's my quick rundown. Number 10, Club Dread. 9, Swiss Army Man. 8, Triangle Sadness. 7, Jurassic Park 3. 6, King Kong. 5, Swiss Family Robinson. 4, Lord of the Flies. 3, The Beach. 2, Blue Lagoon. And number 1 is Castaway. Now, there are a few other ones I could have included. Journey to the Mysterious Island with Dwayne Johnson. Hey, Dwayne Johnson has been doing so many island films, from The Rundown to Journey 2, Jumanji. That's like a genre into itself. Let's see. Robinson Crusoe, the Pierce Brosnan one. 6 Days and 7 Nights. Enemy Mine. The Shallows. Oh, that's not really much of an island. It's more of a rock, not an island. But anyway. Prey I could have included. Actually, I could have included other Predator movies. They're mostly on islands. The Edge. Nim's Island. Definitely not Wicker Man. Survivor Island with Billy Zane. Whoever sees Survivor Island, come on. But let me let you guys. What are some of your favorite island set movies? Drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for notification. This is Him Insider.